Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Wonderful God, it is your Khalsa brotherhood. Wonderful God, it is your victory. I welcome everyone to this historic occasion of the unveiling of the Lions of the Great War statue. Today is a historic and proud moment for us all. It's also a national and international significance that this statue here is being unveiled. And with that, first and foremost, I'd like to acknowledge our dignitaries and our VIP guests, Deputy Lieutenant of the West Midlands, Major Sylvia Parkin, the Worshipful, the Mayor of Sandwell, Councillor Joy Edis, the High Sheriff of West Midlands, Chris Loughran, MPs and councillors, representatives from Sandwell Council and Fields and Trust, the sculptor Luke Perry, members of the armed forces, including the Army and the Royal Navy, the Royal British Legion, and Sikhs 1914 to 18 Association, faith communities from across the multi-faith network in Sandwell, businesses and media, the congregation of Guru Nanak Gurdwara, and communities far and wide from across the UK who have made their way here today to join us. This is a significant event and opportunity for Guru Nanak Gurdwara to show its partnership and work with Luke Perry, the sculptor, and Sandwell Council in partnership to create the statue of a Sikh soldier to honour the sacrifices made by the South Asian service personnel of all faiths from the Indian subcontinent who fought for Britain in the Great War and other conflicts. I ask everybody now to join with the Sevadar of Guru Nanak Gurdwara Smethwick, Bhai Joginder Singh, Bhai Amandeep Singh, and Bhai Jatinder Singh in the Sikh national anthem. And I ask you, if you can join in, please join in, otherwise to observe silence.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਜੀ ਨਾਲ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਦੇਹ ਸ਼ਿਵਾ ਬਰ ਮੋਹਿ ਹੈ ਦੇਹ ਸ਼ਿਵਾ ਸ਼ੁਭ ਕਰ ਮਨ ਤੇ ਕਬ ਹੋ ਨਾ ਟਰੋ ਸ਼ੁਭ ਕਰ ਮਨ ਤੇ रो अर सो अर लायल रो न डरो अर सो जब जाए निश्चय कर अपनी जीत करो निश्चय कर अपनी अर सिख हो अपने ही मन को अर सिख हो अपने ही मन एह लालच हो गुण तो चरो एह लालच हो गुण जब आव की औद निदान बने जब आव की औद अत हीरन में तब जूझ मरो अत हीरन में तब बोले सो निहाल बोले सो ਨਿਹਾਲ ਬੋਲੇ ਸੋ ਨਿਹਾਲ ਬੋਲੇ ਸੋ ਨਿਹਾਲ ਖੁਸ਼ੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਜਕਾਰੇ ਗਜਾਵੇ ਨਿਹਾਲ ਹੋ ਜਾਵੇ ਸ਼ਹੀਦਾਂ ਫੌਜਾਂ ਦੇ ਮਨ ਨੂੰ ਪਾਵੇ ਸਤਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ
ਠਾਕੁਰ ਤੁਮ ਪੈ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਜੀਉ ਪਿੰਡ ਸਭ ਤੁਮ ਮਾਤ ਪਿਤਾ तेरे तुम्हारे कृपा में कोई न जाने तुमरा ऊंचे ते सगल समगरे तुम्हारा सूत्र तुम ते हो सो तुम्हारे गात में तो तुम ही जान नानक दास तुम्हारे गात में तो तुम ही जान नानक दास सदा सतनाम श्री वाहिगुरु साहिब जीओ तीने ताप निवारण हारा दुख हंता सुख रास ताको बिघन न को लागे जहाँ की प्रभ आगे अरदास तो दागे अरदास हमारी जियो पिंड सब तेरा कह नानक सब तेरी वड्याई कोई नाम न जाने मेरा एक ओंकार श्री वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह श्री भगवती जी सहाय वार श्री भगवती जी की पातशाही 10वीं प्रथम भगवती सिमर कह गुरु नानक लई ते आए फिर अंगद गुर ते अमरदास रामदास होई सहाय अर्जन हर गोबिंद नु सिमरो श्री हर राय श्री हर कृष्ण ध्याइया जिस डिठा सब दुख जाए तेग बहादुर सिमरिया कार नौ निद्या में थाए सब थाई होई सहाय सब थाई होए सहाय 10वें पातशाह श्री गुरु गोबिंद सिंह साहब जी महाराज सब थाई होए सहाय 10 पातशाहियां दी जागदी जोत जाहरा जोहर हाजरा हजूर श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब जी के पाठ दर्शन दीदार उपदेश जी का ध्यान तर खालसा जी साहेब बोला जे बोला जे सतगुरां दे 5 प्यारे 4 साहिबजादे 40 मुक्ते शहीदां मरीदां हठियां जपियां तपियां जिन्हां नाम जपिया वंड छकिया देग चलाई तेग वाही देख के अनडट कीता तिन्हां प्यारियां सचारियां दी कमाई दा ध्यान तर बोला जे बोला जे जिन्हां ਸਿੰਘਾਂ ਸਿੰਘਣੀਆਂ ने धर्म हे सीस दिते ਬੰਦ ਬੰਦ ਕਟਵਾਏ ਖੋਪਰੀਆਂ ਲਹਾਈਆਂ ਚਰਖੜੀਆਂ ਤੇ ਚੜਿਆਰਿਆਂ ਨਾਲ ਚਰਾਏ ਗਏ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਲਈ ਕੁਰਬਾਨੀਆਂ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਪਿਆਰਿਆਂ ਸਚਿਆਰਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਕਮਾਈ ਦਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਧਰ ਬੋਲਾ ਜੇ ਬੋਲਾ ਜੇ ਪੰਜਾਂ ਤਖਤਾਂ ਸਰਬੱਤ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਧਰ ਬੋਲਾ ਜੇ ਬੋਲਾ ਜੇ प्रथम सर्वत खालसा जी की अरदास है सर्वत खालसा जी को वाहेगुरु 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 पवित्र नाम चित आवे चित आवण का सदका सर्व सुख होवे जहाँ जहाँ खालसा जी साहिब तहाँ तहाँ रक्षा रियायत देग तेग फतेह बिरद की पैज पंथ की जीत श्री साहिब जी सहाय खालसे जी के बोल बाले बोला जे बोला जे सिखां दा मन नीवा मत उच्चे मत पादा राखा पे अकाल पुरख वाहिगुरु श्री ननकाना साहिब पंजा साहिब डेरा साहिब ते होर बेअंत गुरुद्वारे गुरधामा जिन्हां तो खालसा पंथ नूं विछोड़िया गया है ਤਿਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਖੁੱਲੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਦੀਦਾਰ, ਸੇਵਾ ਸੰਭਾਲ ਦਾ ਦਾਨ ਆਪਦੇ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਬਖਸ਼ੋ ਜੀ। ਹੇ ਨਿਮਾਣਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਮਾਣ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ, ਨਿਤਾਣਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਤਾਣ, ਨਿਓਟਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਓਟ, ਨਿਆਸਰਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਆਸਰੇ, ਧੰਨ ਧੰਨ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀਓ। ਧੰਨ ਧੰਨ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਿੰਘ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀਓ। ਧੰਨ ਧੰਨ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ। ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਮਹਾਨ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਬਖਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ। ਜੋ ਤੋ ਪ੍ਰੇਮ ਖੇਲਣ ਕਾ ਚਾਓ, ਸਿਰ ਤਰ ਤਲੀ ਗਲੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਆਓ। ਹਿਤ ਮਾਰਗ ਪੈਰ ਤਰੀਜੈ, ਸਿਰ ਦੀਜੈ ਕਾਣ ਨ ਕੀਜੈ। ਗਗਨ ਦਮਾਮਾ ਬਾਜਿਓ, ਪਰਿਓ ਨਿਸ਼ਾਨੈ ਕਹਾਓ। ਖੇਤ ਜੋ ਮਾਂਡਿਓ ਸੂਰਮਾ, ਅਬ ਜੂਜਨ ਕੋ ਦਾਓ। ਸੂਰਾ ਸੋ ਪਹਿਚਾਨੀਐ, ਜੋ ਲਰੈ ਤੀਨ ਕੇ ਹੇਤ। ਪੁਰਜਾ ਪੁਰਜਾ ਕੱਟ ਮਰੈ, ਕਬਹੂ ਨ ਛਾਡੈ ਖੇਤ। ਦੇ ਮਹਾਂਵਾਕ ਅਨੁਸਾਰ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਗ੍ਰੇਟ ਵਾਰ, ਫਸਟ ਅਤੇ ਸੈਕੰਡ ਵਰਲਡ ਵਾਰ, ਲਾਈਨਸ ਆਫ ਦਾ ਗ੍ਰੇਟ ਵਾਰ, ਸਾਰੇ ਸਿੰਘਾਂ ਦੀ ਯਾਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀਓ ਯਾਦਗਾਰ ਸਥਾਪਿਤ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਆਗਿਆ ਬਖਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਨੀ। ਸਾਰੇ ਹੀ ਸਿੰਘਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਿਰ 'ਤੇ ਮੇਰ ਦਾ ਹੱਥ ਰੱਖਣਾ, ਆਈਆਂ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਹਾਜ਼ਰੀਆਂ, ਤਿਲ ਫੁੱਲ ਪੇਟਾਵਾਂ ਪ੍ਰਵਾਨ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ, ਕਦਮ ਲੇਖੇ ਲਾਉਣੇ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀਓ। ਯੂਕੇ ਦੇ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀਓ ਸਮੈਤ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਵਿਖੇ ਸ਼ਹੀਦਾਂ ਸਿੰਘਾਂ ਦੀ ਯਾਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀਓ ਪੁੱਤ ਲਗਾਏ ਗਏ ਹਨ। ਅੰਗ ਸੰਗ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਸਹਾਈ ਹੋਣਾ, ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਿਆਰ ਅਥਵਾ ਕੇ ਏਕਤਾ ਦੀਆਂ ਦਾਤਾਂ ਬਖਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ। ਹੋਈਆਂ ਭੁੱਲਾਂ ਗਲਤੀਆਂ ਦੀ ਮਾਫੀ ਬਖਸ਼ੋ। ਸਹੀ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਮੇਲ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਪਵਿੱਤਰ ਨਾਮ ਚੇਤਾਵੇ। ਨਾਨਕ ਨਾਮ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ ਤੇਰੇ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਦੋਹਰਾ ਆਗਿਆ ਭਏ ਅਕਾਲ ਕੀ, ਕਵੀ ਚਲਾਇਓ ਸਭ ਸਿੱਖਨ ਕੋ ਹੁਕਮ ਹੈ। ਗੁਰੂ ਮਾਨੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਜੀ ਮਾਨਿਓ, ਪ੍ਰਗਟ ਗੁਰਾਂ ਕੀ ਜੋ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਕੋ ਮਿਲਵੋ ਚਾਹੈ। ਕੋਈ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਮੈਂ ਰਾਜ ਕਰੇਗਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਆਕੀ ਰਹਿ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ। ਖਾਰ ਹੋਏ ਸਭ ਮਿਲੈਂਗੇ, ਬਚੈ ਸ਼ਰਨ ਜੋ ਹੋਏ। ਖੰਡਾ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਹਾਥ ਮੈਂ, ਕਲਗੀ ਸੋ ਹੈ ਸ਼ੇਸ। ਸੋ ਹਮਰੀ ਰਛਿਆ ਕਰੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਕਲਗੀ ਧਰ। ਸੋ ਹਮਰੀ ਰਛਿਆ ਕਰੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਕਲਗੀ ਧਰ। ਬੋਲੇ ਸੋ ਨਿਹਾਲ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
Standard bearers! Order! Standards!
बोले सो निहाल बोले सो निहाल बोले सो निहाल बोले सो निहाल जो बोले सो निहाल सत श्री अकाल वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਸਿਰਫ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਲਾਗੇ ਲਾਗਿਓਂ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਆਈ ਆ। ਸਮੈਥ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੰਨਾ ਇਕੱਠ ਹੋਇਆ ਆ, ਜਿੰਨੀ ਵੀ ਸੰਗਤ ਆ ਗੱਜ ਕੇ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗੇ ਕਿ ਸਮੈਥ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਦੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਅੱਜ ਬੁੱਤ ਦਾ ਉਦਘਾਟਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਆ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। Wonderful God, it is your Khalsa brotherhood. Wonderful God, it is your victory. Before I address my honourable guests in English, I would like to say a few words in Punjabi to my beloved community and congregation. ਪਿਆਰੀ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, 10 ਕੋਟ ਲਫ਼ਜ਼ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਕਰ ਸਕੀਏ। ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਕੋਟਾਨ ਕੋਟ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਜੀ ਦਾ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇੰਨਾ ਮਾਣ ਬਖਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕੀਤਾ ਆ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਸਦਕਾ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਮਹਾਨ ਸ਼ਹੀਦਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬਲ ਦਿੱਤਾ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਖੂਨ ਦਾ ਕਤਰਾ ਕਤਰਾ ਬਹਾ ਕੇ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਿਸ਼ਵ ਲੜਾਈ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਜੰਗ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਦੂਸਰੀ ਵਿਸ਼ਵ ਜੰਗ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਤੇ ਹੋਰਨਾਂ ਜੰਗਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਜਾਨਾਂ ਵਾਰ ਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਮਾਣ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਖੜ੍ਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਬੁੱਤ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਥਾਪਿਤ ਕਰਨ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਪਿਆਰੀ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਸੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸ਼ਹਾਦਤ ਨੂੰ ਲੱਖ ਲੱਖ ਪ੍ਰਣਾਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਔਰ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਆਪ ਪਿਆਰੀ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਹਿਯੋਗ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇੰਨਾ ਪਿਆਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ, ਮਾਣ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਔਰ ਅੱਜ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਯਾਦਗਾਰ ਆ, ਇਹ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਸੈਂਡਵਲ ਕਾਉਂਸਲ ਦੇ ਸਹਿਯੋਗ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਥਾਪਿਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ, ਸਾਰੇ ਸੇਵਾਦਾਰਾਂ ਦਾ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਦਿਨ ਰਾਤ ਇੱਕ ਕਰਕੇ ਇਸ ਦੀ ਸਥਾਪਨਾ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ, ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ। Memorable moments in history are created through the heroic actions of those who prepared to rise above their own stations to protect the very principles to rise of and ideals of humanity that are the foundations of community harmony and the peace that we all cherish. Yet the irony of all this is that often that they must do battle with an enemy in foreign environments and are prepared and be prepared to sacrifice everything that they hold dear and depart from everyone they love to ensure a vision for future stability which they may or may not be privy to live for. I, as the president of Guru Nanak Gurdwara Smethwick, on behalf of all the Sikh community of Sandwell, salute all soldiers of all faiths, of all countries, of all ranks who laid down their lives and were wounded in World War I, or as we know it, the Great War. Lest we forget, when we embarked on this project with Sandwell Council and Luke Perry, our single-minded focus was the legacy we wanted the statue to leave. Not only was this a reminder to generations old and new of the valor and the bravery of our communities, it was also to be a public landmark space in front of our landmark Gurdwara that welcomed all into Smethwick. I thank both Luke Perry for his creative and passionate mind, and Sandwell Council for their investment and commitment to seeing this project through. A special mention here has to go to Alan Reynolds from the Planning Department for his drive and his relentless passion to see this vision materialize. Not only will this statue serve as a reminder to all of all many faces of the soldiers that stood and fought together during the Great War, it is also a much-needed visual for our Sikh community whose contributions during the 2 world wars have always been acknowledged in literature, but not in public art. This is why I am very proud today, very, very proud, that we here in the Lions of the Great War Monument site a rare piece of history which tells us the plight of the communities that were part of the Commonwealth who eventually settled here in Smethwick some 50 years after the end of the Great War. Who would have thought our forefathers fighting to protect the front line in the trenches or having laid down their lives in the battlefields not only laid down the foundations for peace and prosperity across the world, but also the foundations for a new home in foreign land, which we all know as Sandwell, and in particular here, Smethwick. No longer is this a foreign land. This is a home, and a beloved one at that. As a 4th generation Sikh, I am proud, I am very proud and honored today and forever of the sacrifices my forefathers have made. For if it were not for them, who knows, I or you may not be standing here today. Thank you all for attending and joining me to pay respects to South Asian soldiers of all faiths who sacrificed their lives or were wounded in World War I, the Great War. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Wonderful God, it is your Khalsa brotherhood. Wonderful God, it is your victory. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much, Jatinder, for that very inspiring and passionate speech. Now, Sandwell Council has worked with us to create a paved public space with seating and lighting, as well as improving an adjoining green space area. So I'd like now for the leader of Sandwell Council, Councillor Steve Ealing, to join us on stage.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that introduction, and what a great day to be here in Smethwick. Distinguished guests joining us today, Deputy Lord Lieutenant, High Sheriff, Preet Kaur Gill, MP, the first Sikh woman to be elected to the UK Parliament. Fantastic community, fantastic children of the area that we see here today, and I speak as a son of Smethwick myself as well as Sandwell. Today marks a very special occasion for the people in Smethwick, for everyone in Smethwick, for everyone in Sandwell. And I know we're commemorating 100 years since the end of the First World War, and I had a grandfather who fought in that conflict. Of course, there's no one left from that era, are there? Or very few from the Second World War now. But we should never forget the sacrifices that were made in those conflicts and others that gave us the freedoms that we all take for granted today, fighting against tyrants, fascists, and any number of other people that threaten the type of society that we value. Now, the inscription on the statue says it all. Over 1 million soldiers from South Asia, from the Indian subcontinent, were engaged in the Great War between 1914 and 1918. But actually, whenever you hear about the history of the Great War and other conflicts, it is often referenced to soldiers from around the Commonwealth and the amount of effort and sacrifice that they put in. But rarely is there a real mention to this number of soldiers from the Indian subcontinent. And that is something that needs to be rectified, that soldiers from right across the Commonwealth fought in the British cause to defeat the enemy and to deliver the society that we have today. And this statue here in Smethwick, where we have the makeup of the community that we have today, that very much reflects the Commonwealth that we still value, to have it here in Smethwick gives us not only a commemoration and appreciation that what happened in the past, but also gives us a reminder into the future as well, that we were stronger together. We fought together, we won through. In Smethwick, in Sandwell, we worked together. We're all the better because we work together. And let no one ever divide us. Let this statue be a reminder that we pulled together and we won through, and we will always pull together as a community, and we will always win through. I very much appreciate the leadership that has been taken on this project by Guru Nanak Gurdwara. It has been a privilege as leader of the council to lead an organisation that is engaged in this project, but credit has to go to the Gurdwara for the leadership on bringing this project forward. It is a lesson to the community and it engages the community, and that has to be good for us all. So thank you very much everyone for coming along today, for recognising this event, for the important event that it is. Let us keep working together as a community in Smethwick and in Sandwell in the future to the benefit of us all, and let this statue be a reminder of the sacrifices that people made. Thank you very much, everyone.
Some very poignant words from Councillor Steve Ealing, particularly about being together, winning together. Only together and not separately can we overcome any obstacle or challenge that faces our community or our country. So with that, I'd like to now introduce you to Angela Lewis, Head of Programs at Fields in the Trust. Now this site will be protected by Centenary Fields, which is run by the National Charity Fields in Trust in partnership with the Royal British Legion. So please, for Angela Lewis. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for the invitation to share this special day with you all today. Fields in Trust was founded back in 1925 by King George V, and we've been protecting parks and green spaces in perpetuity across the UK ever since. We launched our Centenary Fields programme in partnership with the Royal British Legion back in 2014. And since then, we've been protecting parks and green spaces across the UK with a link to World War I. And these parks and green spaces fit really into three categories. The first is parks and green spaces that contain a war memorial. These were very often spaces given in memory of a lost loved one, or bought by communities coming together in the aftermath of the Great War and paying for that green space by public subscription. And there's a great example of this down on the south coast, on the outskirts of Brighton. There's a memorial called the Chat Tree in a remembrance garden, which commemorates the huge contribution given by South Asian soldiers in World War I. So if you're down near Brighton, that's definitely worth a visit. The second category is parks and green spaces on land that made a contribution to the war effort 100 years ago. And there's a site in Wiltshire that was used for trench practice by the soldiers before they went off to the Western Front. And the third category is contemporary war memorials, of which undoubtedly Lions of the Great War is a most magnificent example. Communities like yourselves across the country have come together to honour the World War I generation and everything they did for us 100 years ago. And our contribution to the Royal British Legion's Thank You campaign is to feature a different centenary field each day until November the 11th. So please go to our website tomorrow at 11 o'clock, fieldsintrust.org, and you will find Lions of the Great War featured there. I'd just like to thank Guru Nanak Gurdwara Smethwick and Sandwell Council for being part of the Centenary Fields programme. What's really important to Fields in Trust is that when the commemorations are over, there will be around 250 parks and green spaces across the UK. They'll be protected forever, spaces where future generations can run, play, picnic, or just maybe have a moment of quiet contemplation of all that that World War I generation did for us. So thank you.
Yes, on Angela Lewis, jo head of programs at Fields in the Trust. So jo ete a yadgar ban rahi han, ye sirf sade vaste nahi hai, ja Smethwick le, ja Sandwell le, ye nationally han. So jehdi site a centenary fields ya ode thalle 76 saal thalle protected hogi. तो जो चैरिटी आ फील्ड्स इन द ट्रस्ट ब्रिटिश लीजन दे रॉयल ब्रिटिश लीजन दे पार्टनरशिप दे नाल उन्हां दी सुरक्षा हेठ आ साइट दी प्रोटेक्शन दित्ती गई आ. So I'd like to invite two MPs, two local MPs. First, Preet Corgill, and in particular I wanted to, I hope she'll explain her role in the project, but we know it as being the person responsible for triggering the whole vision and the project that you see here today, some 2.5 years ago when she was a councillor. And then after Preet, I'd like to invite MP John Speller to say a few words as MP of Smethwick as well. So Preet Corgill, MP, Chair of All Party Parliamentary Group for British Sikhs.
Honoured guests, High Sheriff, Deputy Lord Lieutenant, Lady Mayor of Sandwell, and Saad Sangat Ji, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I want to start by giving my thanks to Guru Nanak Gurdwara Smethwick and Sandwell Council for inviting me here today. It is a real honour and a privilege to have witnessed the unveiling of this statue, a first of its kind and a fantastic and fitting tribute to the 1.5 million Indian soldiers who fought in World War I. As the chair of the APPG for British Sikhs, I want to congratulate everyone involved in the realisation of this statue, which also recognises and celebrates the significant contribution made by Sikhs in World War I. As an ex-councillor in Sandwell, I was approached by Luke to help get this project off the ground. But today, I want to give a special mention and thank you to Jatinder Singh Bassi, President, and Hamraj Singh Shergill, General Secretary of the Gurdwara, Luke Perry, and Steve Ealing, and all of the community who have really made this project happen and have worked tirelessly to see its completion in time for Armistice 100th anniversary. The UK's first national memorial dedicated to Sikhs who fought during the Great War was unveiled in 2015 at the National Memorial Arboretum, which coincided with the launch of the Sikh Manifesto. As there was a great need for permanent monuments in cities like Birmingham and London to emphasise Sikh sacrifices under the slogan, Lions of the Great War. The APPG British Sikhs are currently working on securing a site in London, and John Speller, Tamanjit Singh Desi, Tom Watson, Pat McFadden and others are working on this project, which has great cross-party support. This statue, showing a Sikh soldier wearing a turban, perfectly illustrates the pride that the Sikh soldiers had in their Sikh identity. Sikhs have had a long-established community over the generations, both in Great Britain and abroad. Yet despite being small in number in British India, Sikhs played an important part in the war, making up more than a fifth of the British Indian Army and suffering huge losses as a result of their involvement. To put that in context, 83,000 Sikh soldiers were killed and around 107,000 were injured in the 2 world wars, which is around the same number of regular soldiers that the British Army has in its ranks today. And it is an often overlooked fact that 1 in every 6 British soldiers was from the Indian subcontinent, making the British Indian Army larger than all the Commonwealth forces that they fought alongside combined. And with the Commonwealth Games coming to Birmingham in 2022, this statue will serve as a timely reminder to our Commonwealth guests of the camaraderie and sacrifice shown by Sikhs throughout the wars and who sacrificed their lives in defense of democracy and in the fight for freedom. Statues like this will serve to educate our wider communities of our shared history. My grandfather fought in the Second World War in the British Indian Army, and I know that many of you will have personal connections to and stories of the Great War, and it is these memories that we will be reflecting on today. So thank you. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
So, yes, on MP Preet Kaur Gill, ਜਦੋਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਦਾ ਰੋਲ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਾਉਂਸਲਰ 2.5 ਸਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜੋ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਜੈਕਟ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂਆਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਲੂਕ ਪੈਰੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੋ ਇਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਹਨ ਸੁਚੇਤਨਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਚਿਰ ਸਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪੀੜ੍ਹੀ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪੜ੍ਹੀ ਲਿਖੀ ਪੀੜ੍ਹੀ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਪੀੜ੍ਹੀ ਆ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਚਿਰ ਉਹ ਇਹ ਪੋਸਟਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਚਿਰ ਜੋ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੇ ਹੱਕ ਆ ਉਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਦੇ ਪੂਰੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲੂਗੇ ਸੋ ਅੱਜ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਆ ਯਾਦਗਾਰ ਹਨ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਪੀੜ੍ਹੀ ਹਨ ਜੋ ਕੰਮ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਦੋਂ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਜਾਂ ਪੋਸਟ ਮਿਲ ਗਈ ਸੀਗੀ ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਕਾਉਂਸਲਰ ਹਨ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਕਾਉਂਸਲਰ ਰਣਵੀਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਹਨ ਇੱਥੇ ਸੋ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਹਨ ਸਾਰੀ ਸੰਗਤ ਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਹੋਰ ਪ੍ਰੇਰਨਾ ਦਈਏ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਹਨ ਉਹ ਕਾਉਂਸਲਰ ਜਾਂ MP ਦੀ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਆਉਣ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਨ ਸੋ without further ado I'd like to now invite MP John Speller to the stage to say a few words on behalf of his constituency Smethwick.
Thank you very much. Waiji Ka Khalsa, Waiji Ka Fateh. And can I just say how proud we are here to have in a neighbouring constituency Preet Kaur Gill as the first ever woman Sikh Member of Parliament. It's great for the area, and it's great for, really pleased for and already making an impact in Westminster. And as we meet today here to honour the service or in our forces, not just in the First World War, although that's obviously the immediate point, but over the century of Sikh servicemen. This is a proud day for the Sikh community, not just here in Smethwick and Sandwell, but across the Midlands, across the country, and indeed the Sikh community around the world. And it's a fitting tribute to that service. But I also want to pay tribute today to the Gurdwaras here who've worked with Sandwell Council so effectively to secure this superb setting, and also, because this doesn't happen just by accident, to raise the considerable sums of money that have been needed to get such a fitting memorial. And I hope, therefore, that this will be an example to the government to get a move on, as Preet rightly said, in bringing about a national memorial for the contribution of Sikh forces to our armed forces over that century. And those who join together, and we should remember this, from all communities in order to fight against authoritarianism and dictatorship. But also we have to remember, while this is a day of pride, it's also a day for reflection and sadness, as indeed will next Sunday be. the 100th anniversary on Remembrance Sunday, because we also have to think of many of those from all communities, and something like 100,000 in all those wars from the Sikh community, who never came back from those wars, including my grandmother's brother, an England cricketer, Colin Blythe, and also of those who were injured. They did return, but often life-changing, and for many of them, broken in body and indeed also in spirit. And we also should reflect on the cost and the waste of war, even when it's necessary to protect our independence and freedoms. And if you visit the war cemeteries around the world, as I did when I was the Armed Forces Minister for the government, and you see the names, not just all those British names, but those from so many lands, from Europe, from North America, from India, from what is now Pakistan and Bangladesh. You see their names on the wall of those who have lived and died together so that we may live in freedom. And those names are a permanent rebuke to those who would seek to divide us on grounds of race and religion. Those who fought together as British servicemen fighting for the same cause. And they worked and lived together. And so that is why we today must have those mixed feelings. Pride in their heroism, pride in the efforts of the community to visibly honour them, but also a sorrow at the price that they and their families paid. We will remember them. Wajika Khalsa, Wajik Fateh.
Thank you very much, MP John Speller, and we look forward to your support and the support of other MPs for the National Sikh War Memorial as well. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the last speech, and I think it's befitting that this speech is done by who I now call an honorary Sikh, and that's Luke Perry. And I have a lot of words to say for Luke, but I'm going to say a few, and that is that I've never seen anybody who has got more passion for soldiers and Sikh soldiers and knows more about them than anybody else, even me as a Sikh. And for me, it's been an education, it's been a journey. For him to explain to me why the soldier has been designed in that way, for him to tell me about the sacrifices made by our forefathers, which even I was not aware of. We know of some of the detail and not all of it. And so it is a reminder, a timely reminder to all of us as Sikhs as well, to learn our history, to learn the sacrifices made by individual Sikh soldiers in World War I and World War II and why they made those. So without any further ado, an honorary Sikh for Guru Nanak Gurdwara Smethwick, Luke Perry, sculptor. Thank you.
Thank you, Himaraj. This is a real honour. Firstly, I'd just like to thank some people who need some recognition. I'd like to thank my wife, Nats, whose enthusiasm and her knowledge and history of the Great War and what she pursued really illuminated this idea that there were so many people who contributed so much that are completely unrecognised. And that's where, as a sculptor, I thought, well, if I can't help, then who can? So that was the beginning of the germ of the idea, and her support and my family and friends' support all the way through this has allowed me and other people to get this done. Also thanks, of course, to Sandwell Council, and in particular, as has been said before, to Alan Reynolds, who has pushed this through and made sure it was unstoppable. His commitment, and he really shouldn't have worked half as much as he did to get this done, has allowed this thing to happen when it could very easily have stopped. And a lot of people hate him for that, but we all love him. And of course the Gurdwara, just approaching them with this idea, and they just said, yes, we need to make this happen, and they did. and Jatinder and Humraj and all the representatives of the Gurdwara, I can't thank enough. And your love and support and welcome has been an honour. So a lot of people have asked me why this is the first monument like this to the Indian Army. And the issue of the Indian contribution to the First World War, it hasn't been addressed in a large part because of a certain shame that has been felt about the empire and imperialism and injustice. And that is something that we're changing now. The contribution wasn't recognised as it should be, but we're beginning that. And we now live in a country that is beginning to recognise its past and to make reparation for that and to recognise the inequalities and to address them. And I'm very proud of that part of Britain. That we live in a country that can address these inequalities and why we are here. And we're really here in front of this permanent and unarguable statement of unity and togetherness is because of that energy in Britain to be together. To remember the contribution of the men who fought and the families that they left behind, the women and children, and the people who gave their men and their resources for a country that wasn't their own. And that's another reason why we're here, to remember them. This monument is here as a thanks and a recognition for their sacrifices, the pride and continuing strength that lives on in the people that remember them, their descendants, and all the people that make our community as rich as it is. The bonds forged between men of all faiths, races and backgrounds on the battlefields of the Great War brought us closer together. We built this monument to recognise that Great Britain owes much of its greatness to those whose history began in a foreign land, but who now call this home their own. And we're all the stronger because of that. The monument behind me, with its foundations seated firmly in the earth of this country, is not only about our history, but it is about our future and going forward and being together forward. And it's been an honour to be part of that and to be welcomed. And I'd just like to thank everybody. But lastly, Paul Kennedy, who has worked tirelessly to physically make this thing in bits, him and me have built this thing together, and it's been such a relationship with it, and we're going to miss it, honestly. And I'd just like to thank him so much for his work. And I'd like everybody to give him a round of applause, because he's not up here right now. Oh, excuse me. Thank you so much, Paul. And thank you, everybody, and I hope that you all enjoy it as much as we have. Thank you.
Fuller!